What is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another video as of today. I'm taking a break from the rebuilds for today and probably for tomorrow. I am actually traveling up to Chicago tomorrow, which is about 3 hours from me. We're going on a little mini vacation with some of my family, so I will be taking a little bit of a break from it because holy crap, the free agency has been absolutely insane. Now, granted, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I am a Bulls fan. And the Bulls have made some incredible moves. But I don't know, man. So I'm gonna go over just like some of the free agency signings and some of the trades and stuff that the teams did end up doing, and just kind of give my initial thoughts on them. Obviously, I think some teams did a lot better than others. So I'm just gonna hop right into it. I don't want this video to be too terribly long. So. The Torrey Craig one, where he agrees to the 2-year deal with the Pacers, I actually think that's a really good move. I think it's a win now move. They obviously drafted Chris Duarte as a shooter in the draft. They picked up the center from, I don't even remember, but the defensive center from the draft as well. So, 2 very win now pickups, and then you add in a 3-and-D guy like Torrey Craig. You still have TJ Mcconnell coming off the bench. I just think that that's a very solid roster there. I'm really happy with what the Pacers did. Otto Porter Jr. going to the Warriors is actually hilarious to me. I am very glad that the Warriors took that on because, well, I mean, it's not like it would really matter, but I just think it's hilarious because Otto Porter Jr. is just definitely not worth that. Then we got, Gabe Vincent agrees to a deal with the Heat. No shocker there. Sixers agree to the deal with Korkmaz. Nothing too crazy here. I kind of want to just get into some of the big ones. Batum actually agreeing to stay with the Clippers did shock me. I did think he was going to probably leave. But, he is kind of an older guy, so I kind of get it. Doesn't really want to move around too much. So Zeller agreeing to the deal with the Trailblazers is kind of big. Obviously, they still have Enes Kanter. They still have Nurkic. But adding in another rebounding big is actually extremely solid for them. I think that that's fantastic. Next we have PJ Tucker agreeing to that deal with the Heat. And boy, oh boy, that's when things get spicy because holy, I think that was a very good pickup for the Heat. I truly do. Adding in a defensive-minded player like PJ Tucker, who is just, nose to the grindstone. And I just can't believe the Bucks didn't re-sign him. You just won a championship. Why would you let one of your main defensive assets go? That was what, not like the Bucks needed any more scoring. Obviously, they have Giannis, they have Chris Middleton, and they have Drew Holiday to give you very solid numbers. But you need some defense. So taking that away is definitely, they screwed up on that for sure. Bazemore and the Lakers, they made a lot of moves too. The Lakers made a lot of moves. So Bazemore agreeing to the deal with the Lakers. Like I said, I think I've said this in a rebuild before, the Lakers just needed a ton of shooters around them and scorers just in general, and they did that. They actually added quite a bit. The Harkless to the Kings is not really anything to me. This is one that is super interesting to me, and I think that this one might be one of the most overlooked ones, is the Nuggets getting Green. I think that it's actually extremely overlooked because Jeff Green is a player that when you look at the Nuggets roster, they're really the 2 main positions that they're lacking is they do need another shooting guard, which could technically be an issue. But another position is they did trade for Aaron Gordon, but he wasn't really the answer. So you would need a backup 4 to kind of take place of what Millsap was. So with Millsap being there at the 4, it does make it extremely interesting because Jeff Green does literally slide into that position and is a tremendous veteran for them. Corey Joseph goes to the Pistons, nothing crazy. Nuggets re-signed Will Barton. I do think that was kind of a good trade or a good deal there. JaVale McGee going to the Suns is also another one that is very interesting to me, especially because so obviously they have DeAndre Ayton, who I think is going to be a center of the future. I think he is a very good player, but realistically, he's not he's not necessarily the best when it comes to like interior defense. Obviously, we saw Giannis score 50 on him. So adding another shot blocker and like defensive minded big alongside of DeAndre Ayton is going to be fantastic. Now, if they're going to run them DeAndre Ayton at the 4, JaVale McGee at the 5, I don't know. Or if they're going to run, just have DeAndre Ayton and then have JaVale McGee as the backup center, like anytime that they need someone to guard like a very athletic center, maybe they'll do it like that. I truly don't know. But next we have TJ McConnell agreeing to the deal with the Pacers. They needed to bring him back. He was very good for them off the bench. Pistons get Kelly Olynyk, which is definitely interesting. I did not see that one coming. But Jeremy Grant, he is looking for a little bit more help. I do think it does make their team just slightly better. And he is going to be a pretty good player. I think he'll probably come off the bench because they do still have Sadiq Bey, who was really solid this past year. So I think he'd come off the bench, but I don't know. Reggie Bullock to the Mavs. I think it's a good, pickup when it comes to. I mean, obviously he's one of the best catch and shoot shooters in the league. He shot like a crazy percentage from the 3-point line, which is good because when it comes to the Mavericks, that is something that they need, is someone to take pressure off Luka. So they have Tim Hardaway Jr. now. They re-signed him, so they can't get off his contract for sure. And then they also just picked up Reggie Bullock. They still have Kristaps Porzingis. So, they just need someone to take off some of the pressure. So, Nuggets agree to the 1-year deal with Rivers. I mean, that's all right, I guess. The Knicks actually re-signed Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel, which was solid. Nerlens Noel was pretty decent for them last year. Daniel Tice agrees to a signing trade with the Rockets. This one was interesting because I don't know, when it comes to the Rockets, I don't know why they would want another center, like an inside player, but maybe they're looking to run Şengün, or however you say his name, at the 4, or maybe Tice is just like a mentor. I honestly don't know, but it's definitely weird. Blake Griffin agrees to a deal with the Nets. I figured he would come back, but I genuinely I really wasn't sure. The Spurs actually picked up a deal on Zach Collins for a 3-year deal, and it was actually a pretty hefty price tag. I don't really understand why, because Zach Collins hasn't played basketball in like over 2 years, so who knows if he's going to be that same player, but what do I really know? The Mavericks, re-signing Hardaway Jr. and Boban, so pretty cool. I'm going to skip over this one for now because I have a huge Bulls rant at the end, so just wait on that one. Just wait on that one. The Suns agreed to a deal with Cameron Payne. He actually took a lot less money than I thought he would, especially because Cam Payne, he played tremendous in the playoffs. So I'm very, very shocked that he didn't, ask for a little bit more, but hey, what do I really know? Devante Graham going to the Pelicans is actually a deal that I really like. I know a lot of people don't really like it. A lot of people don't really understand it. But Devante Graham going to the Pelicans is one that I truly do like. Obviously, Lonzo Ball is no longer on the team. So they do need a point guard to kind of fill that void. Devante Graham is definitely a very good scorer. He's going to make up for the scoring aspect. They still have Kira Lewis Jr. off the bench who can play defense. So it's just a matter of how you want to look at it, but adding another really good scorer onto the team is never going to hurt you. Trust me when I say that. So Devante Graham, I think, is very solid off of as either a starting point guard, or you could run Kira Lewis at the starting point guard. You could run Devante Graham at the 2 since Eric Bledsoe. I don't think Eric Bledsoe's back. I would have to double check on that one. But if not, Devante Graham off the bench is going to give you like 15 points off the bench, so you can't argue with that. Raptors, they do end up getting Gary Trent Jr. back. No shocker there. Rashawn Holmes actually agrees to the deal with the Kings. That one I wasn't sure about. I wasn't sure if they were going to give him a chance or not. The Spurs adding in Doug McDermott was very solid. I liked that pickup, especially with some of the news that we got as of today. As of right now, it's August 3rd, and it is 3:48. So, if you guys are watching this, you guys definitely know what happened in the NBA world, but I will get to that in a second. But, very solid. I do think, McDermott can give you 3-and-D off of the bench, or I guess technically he could be at the power forward spot since Rudy Gay didn't end up going to a different team. Bobby Portis goes back to the Bucks, no shocker there. This one was massive. Cavs actually gave Jared Allen like 5 years, what was it, like $100 and something million? I don't remember. So they must be trying to make it work with Jared Allen at the 5, Evan Mobley at the 4, and hey, I'm for it. Like, if that's how you really want to run it, like I'm perfectly fine with that. I just am very interested to see how it all works out. That's the only thing for me. Next, we have Fournier and Derrick Rose do agree to deals back with the Knicks. Derrick Rose, I definitely thought he was going to go to a contender this year. I really did. I didn't think it was going to be the Bulls. I thought it was going to be like Lakers or, like maybe even Brooklyn. He could take like a backup spot, but I just did not think he would go back to the Knicks. I really just did not think he was going to go to the Knicks. But Evan Fournier was actually a very good pickup for the team. Obviously, they have Emmanuel Quickley, but adding in a veteran shooting guard alongside Emmanuel Quickley is going to be very good for that. Dinwiddie is nearing a deal with the Wizards. That would be an interesting one to get done because obviously they lost Westbrook. So adding in Dinwiddie might be a pretty... I mean, obviously it's not going to be anywhere close to the same. I mean, Westbrook and Dinwiddie are not even close to the same players, but it'd be solid for sure. Norman Powell agrees to a 5-year with the Blazers. No shocker there, really. I was kind of shocked that it was a 5-year deal. I figured it might be a little bit shorter. He didn't provide too terribly much for them last year, but they must have saw a lot of promise. And I do think Powell's a good player, but Heat re-signed Duncan Robinson to a 5-year, $90 million deal, so he got paid to shoot the ball. So I love to see that. The Lakers, like I said, were making moves. They ended up picking up Dwight Howard, Trevor Ariza, and Wayne Ellington all come back to the Lakers. And like I said, they really need shooting. And now, since we figured out that Drummond is no longer on the team, Dwight Howard is going to be a very good replacement. So, Dwight Howard we just swapped. They basically just did a trade at center for the Sixers. So, I guess Dwight Howard was technically a backup, but still. Jimmy Butler got a huge extension with the Heat. No shocker there, really. I figured maybe they would go like 3 or 4 years, but either way, whatever. The Jazz, they go with a 3-year deal with Conley. So they are taking another shot at him. He was an all-star last year. No reason to really move on from him. They made playoffs, and they did really good. So Lowry getting signed to the Heat is actually massive because that does change a lot for this team. This team just added, a crazy amount of depth, a crazy amount of defense. So I think genuinely the Heat are probably going to be the best defensive team in the league. They have an insane roster now. I mean, Kyle Lowry is pretty decent at defense. Obviously, they have Duncan Robinson, who could be a liability for them. But then they have Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, and then Bam Adebayo. That's an insane defensive team. I don't know how they'll get it done on offense, but, Duncan Robinson's a monster. Obviously, Jimmy Butler can score the ball a little bit. Same with Lowry. And then I think just the way that Lowry is going to play with Bam Adebayo, Bam is going to go crazy this year. And Chris Paul agrees to a 4-year deal with the Suns. There's no reason not to. They went all the way to the finals. And unfortunately, they did lose. But realistically, not like it would have changed too much. But Sarge did end up getting hurt. And then, it literally did just go downhill from after game 2, of course. They lost 4 straight. And there was just little turnovers here and there and little mistakes that they made. Otherwise, they would have been NBA champions. So we will go ahead and go to today, which is the 3rd. So now this is where things get interesting. I saw that Sam Decker, yes, right here, Sam Decker is reportedly agreeing to a deal with the Raptors. Sam Decker has not been in the league for, what, I guess it would have been 6 years now? 7 years? And he just magically gets a deal from the Raptors. That's crazy, but whatever. So, George Hill is going away from the Sixers. I can't, blame him for that. Bielitsa is going to the Warriors. I like that pickup a lot. That is kind of what they needed. Of course, they have Draymond Green and they have Pascal, but they didn't really have any scoring at that power forward position. So this just adds another scorer onto the team. Really like the move they did there. Blazers, are going to pick up Tony Snell here. Not really anything crazy. Suns keep Nader. Nets agree to James Johnson. This could be very good for the team. James Johnson, he could be a pretty big piece of the team, especially since they are short on bigs. And obviously they just drafted someone with like the 44th pick or something that could be pretty good on defense, or maybe it was a different pick. I don't know. But anyway, I know that they drafted a center, but James Johnson could be that guy off the bench. I don't know why the Magic took a chance on Robin Lopez, but whatever. Malik Monk goes to the Lakers as well. That's another shooter, another scorer, alongside LeBron, alongside Westbrook, alongside Anthony Davis. I do like that pickup a lot. Rudy Gay going to the Jazz is another low-key one that I think is going to be very good. The Jazz truly were like a power forward away from being a very solid team. I'm not saying Royce O'Neal isn't good, but when it comes to like a true power forward, I mean, you have to be able to play defense and you have to be able to shoot, or you have to be able to just like score the basketball in general. And unfortunately, Royce O'Neal couldn't really score very well, but whatever. Rodney Hood agrees to a deal with the Bucks, so that's always cool. Bruce Brown goes back to the Nets. Taj Gibson goes back to the Knicks. Dragic, he said bye to Miami, but realistically, I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, they did just pick up Kyle Lowry. He's going to take over Dragic's position, so he's probably going to get traded anyway. The Nets, the Nets picked up Patty Mills for 2 years. I mean, it's whatever. He's just going to be like some of the other guys that were on the roster that just didn't play. Drummond going to the Sixers is weird. I mean, they have an MVP caliber center in Joel Embiid. Why did they pick up Drummond? I don't know. Curry, he got a ridiculous extension, which is crazy. And then Carmelo Anthony going to the Lakers for 1 year is absolutely incredible for Carmelo Anthony. I think it's a really good spot for him. And now you add in you have Carmelo Anthony, you add him into the mix with the Anthony Davis, with the LeBron, with the Westbrook, with probably Malik Monk, maybe Wesley Matthews. Then you have Carmelo Anthony there. Then you have Dennis Schroeder off the bench. So the Lakers made a lot of moves. I'm happy with the moves that the Lakers made. I truly am. I probably couldn't have made any better moves myself. I know it's just bringing in a lot of old guys, or like older guys, but realistically, it's exactly what they needed. So I'm very happy with what the Lakers did. I'm very happy with what Miami has done. But now let's talk about the Chicago Bulls, baby. Oh my God, I'm so happy as a Bulls fan. Truly I am. There are some concerns here, but realistically, overall, I'm extremely happy. I think that the Bulls definitely won free agency. It's definitely them or probably Miami, maybe Los Angeles. I don't know. And then we'll have to see what Kawhi does. I don't know if Kawhi is going to end up coming back to the Clippers, if he's going to try to go somewhere else. I heard rumors of the Mavericks. I don't know if the Mavericks would be able to bring him in or not. But anyway, so the Chicago Bulls, as of yesterday, as soon as the trade deadline started, the Bulls did a sign and trade with the New Orleans Pelicans, and all the Bulls had to give up was Tomas Satoransky, who, if we were to get Lonzo Ball, wouldn't even be playing at all. So we traded away our backup point guard. Okay? Trade away our backup point guard. And we trade away like our 7th or 8th guy. I loved Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple, actually, he was just a good guy. But realistically, as a basketball player, you don't really want him on the roster. And he was like this 8th guy. He wouldn't have played anyway, really. Especially with this new team that we had. So we trade him away. And we trade away a 2nd round pick to get Lonzo Ball, who has unlimited potential. The dude's like 6'6". He can shoot the ball. He can play defense. And his playmaking is off the charts. He genuinely could be a fantastic point guard in a couple years. He just needs a little bit more time to develop, but he is a absolute stud. Okay, so that happened. That was the first big boom moment of the entire day. Next, after that, probably a couple hours later, I get another notification saying that we signed Alex Caruso. Now, hear me out for a second, okay? Just hear me out for a second. I do like Alex Caruso. And so before the Alex Caruso stands come at me and start hating on me, I do like Alex Caruso. But for me, personally, I wanted to see Ayo play. Obviously, Ayo was from Chicago. He came to Illinois, the University of Illinois, brought them to be, like, I think that their top seed at one point was 4. I think they were number 4 in the country. Maybe higher, maybe lower. But in that ballpark, they were very, very good in like college this year. Very, very solid. So that happened. And then all of a sudden, Ayo should have been drafted at the end of the first round. No questions asked. He should have been probably anywhere from 25 to 30. He should have been drafted there. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't go in the first round. And then all of a sudden, he drops all the way to 38 to Chicago. Chicago scoops this kid up. And he is from Chicago. He gets drafted to the team that is in Chicago, in his hometown. And I just would have loved to see him get minutes. But unfortunately, I mean, I do like Caruso. I think he's a very good defender. I also think that his shooting ability is pretty solid, to be completely honest. I think that it's definitely good enough. Okay, so don't get me wrong. I do like Caruso, and I think that he will work on this basketball team. I think that he will be a very solid addition. It just kind of sucks because I wanted to see Ayo get minutes, and now I don't think he will unless he goes crazy in Summer League, which is definitely a possibility. But I just don't know. Now we have just, so much talent at that position. It's just hard for a 21-year-old to be able to get minutes at that. Then, as of today, I'm at the gym. I'm pumping iron. I'm just getting ready, and all of a sudden I get a notification saying that we actually traded for DeMar DeRozan. And the only thing we gave up was Al-Farouq Aminu, who barely saw the floor last year once we ended up trading for him. We gave up Thaddeus Young, who I am sad about losing out on Thaddeus Young. But realistically, Thaddeus Young, he's a very good veteran off the bench. He came off the bench last year and put up ridiculous numbers for us for the time that he played. He played extremely well. We gave up 1 first and 2 seconds to get DeMar freaking DeRozan. Okay? Now, you think about it, right? This is our team's roster right now. This is our complete roster right now. Our starting 5 is more than likely. I don't know for sure. I don't know what they're going to do. But as of right now, we have Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, who we drafted last year, who is turning into one of the best, one of the most. Let me scratch that. He is a very, very good 3-and-D guy, and now he's going to be playing the power forward position. And then we have Vucevic, who was an all-star center last year. Off of our bench, we have Kobe White. We have Alex Caruso. We have Troy Brown Jr., who is, we got him last year, but I actually do like Troy Brown Jr. a lot. We have Lauri Markkanen. And we have Ayo Dosunmu. We do need a backup center. I'm sure that they're going to address that here in a little bit, because we just need a backup power forward or center, because Lauri's not going to be able to play the center spot. But holy crap. That is an absolute unit of a roster. Now, realistic expectations for the team. Will we make playoffs? Yes. I genuinely, with all my heart, if we don't make playoffs this year, I genuinely will, you will probably never hear from me again if we don't make playoffs. But, will we be winning it all? No shot. Will we maybe win a first round playoff, the series, maybe. I think we'll make playoffs. I think we'll probably lose in the first or second round, maybe. I would be very shocked if we won any more than that. Obviously, I'm going in with very low expectations, so that way, anytime we do something good, I can just be super happy about it. But I am going in with low expectations. I think that this team's a very solid team, much better than last year. We're much more well-rounded this next year. We have a lot more defense. That's for damn sure. A lot more defense, and I don't know, man. I just love what AK is doing right now.